See that balcony up there?
So the monastic life, or monasticism as we see it today, the modern monasticism, may look highly structured and very rigid, and just seems to many just mind-boggling, really. And a lot of times when we talk about monasticism or asceticism in the ancient church, uh, or when anybody does, I fear that they'll get a picture of this type of monastic life, or even when speaking about the Desert Fathers. There are many, many uh, disciplines and practices that have gone out of, I don't want to say gone out of style, just have died off. Uh, the most prominent we could think of that happened recently was the Holy Fools. Now, you have probably the world's most famous holy fool, although he's not categorized as that, St. Francis of Assisi, walking around naked, a rich man rejecting his wealth, hearing the call to rebuild my church, and him and some people who were just following, listened to him preach, started. He thought it meant rebuilding this destroyed chapel in northern Italy, so he started rebuilding it with these people, and in that was built the Franciscan order, and in that was brought around a cleaning out, a rebuilding of the papal Catholic West that had become corrupt, and a very beautiful thing happened with that. Unfortunately, that was about to happen again when Martin Luther happened, because there was, I believe, Teresa Avalon was about to uh, once again rebuild the church, and then Martin Luther stepped in and caused Calvin and everything else. But what about the Stylites? How did they practice? What did they perform? Well, they stood. Were they monks in the sense that we know them? Maybe in the sense of maybe Archbishop Lazar Hollow, Vladika Lazar, who preaches to the world. These were men had stood up on pillars and preached, and as a show of strength, to show that they weren't weak or just loudmouths, they would brace themselves and stand on their holy men for weeks, days, months. They'd sometimes just live up there. Sometimes the pillars were big enough. The early pillars have fallen basilicas. They were not. The basilicas is a general building. We now think of it as kind of a style of church, but it was the general building of administration of the Roman Empire, which was seen as the image of cruelty, as well as many pagan temples. Just it's kind of like our equivalent to it's just a cheap reference, but to steel buildings. Steel buildings, build one. I mean, it was kind of like the general style of building. Like you see an office building going up, and go, oh, that has no architectural beauty to it. That's kind of like what the basilica was. Now, we see stylites. We see, for instance, St. John the Hut Dweller. Well, that guy seemed insane. I actually said this one time, thinking I was going to get horribly repercussions from it from my parish priest when I was about a year into Orthodoxy, or maybe a few months after being chrismated into the church, which would be like 4 years into Orthodoxy. I said, John the Hut Dweller, he just seemed insane. And my priest nodded his head, smiled, and laughed and said, yeah, he probably was manic depressive. Some of these people probably were crazy, but we shouldn't take that as all, and we shouldn't put in our anachronistic stuff. I mean, look at Chrysanthus and Daria, where it seemed like the Roman Catholic Church was about to chuck them out, and then they proved their existence and corroborated that the stories were accurate, and you know, very kind of mundane when you look at it. But yeah, these people obviously existed, and they've even found their bodies with great degree of certainty. I mean, it's not Richard III certainty. To be like, how do you know they found their body? Well, go look at the information, right? We found their graves. What else do you need? So there's many styles that have gone out, and they've naturally died out. The Holy Fools kind of met its end. I don't want to say naturally, met its end with the Russian Revolution, right? with the Bolshevik Revolution, not just the Russian Revolution, the Bolshevik one, when the Bolsheviks took power, not when people just wanted to be under democracy under the Tsar, although I would have resisted that. And the stylites went the way of the dodo when Islam came in because of its brutality. May have existed into the Islamic period some, but certainly when the Abbasides came about, and or even the reforms under Abdul Malik bin Marwan came around,